textures, stones, granulating watercolors. Today's lesson will revolve around these three elements. Let's paint this stunning prehistoric monument, the Stonehenge in UK. We begin the sketch by drawing the horizontal and standing stones. If you look at my hand movement, I draw the stones intentionally shaking my hand a little bit. I keep the shape very irregular to make it look more realistic. After drawing this, I set up the ground and also add a small rock here in the foreground. Now let's start painting. I moisten my paper with spray bottle and prepare my hematite genuine paint. The special thing about this color is its granulating property. Granulation is the effect that you get when the pigment particles clump together rather than settling evenly on the painted surface. This effect makes painting rocks or stone textures very natural and easy. I will mix some hematite genuine on my paints to create granulating effect on the paper. We bring out the full beauty of granulation by placing good amount of water on the surface, then dropping generous amount of granulating paint on that wet surface. So here on our first stone, after placing the base wash, I add another layer of granulating paint while it is still moist to bring out the granulating effect. The same thing I do with the horizontal stone on top. Now I create dark tones using burnt sienna and amethyst genuine. Let's continue painting. I paint the base wash of the stone with a light wash. Then, drop a good amount of hematite genuine on the moist surface. I let the paints to blend or spread naturally so I won't interfere the movement of colors. I outline the stone with a darker color to bring dimension. Let's move on to the next stone. I do the same step of painting the base wash with a light tone. Next, I get a darker tone and drop some hints of it to show the rough texture and uneven color of the surface. Here, I want to emphasize the lighted side of the rock, so I paint the side with a mix of horizon blue and amethyst genuine. I go back to the other rock and darken some spots that need to be really dark to make it look more alive. Let's continue painting the other one. The process is very repetitive. As you practice painting rocks, remember that we need to show dimension and texture by playing with tones. We create dimension by making sure that the other side of the stone that is in shade has a dark tone, while the side on the stone lighted by the sun has a very distinct light tone. Next, we create texture on the stone by creating color mixes that is slightly similar in tonal value but a little bit different in hue. At this moment, you can notice that the stones still look a bit flat as there is no strong contrast between the sides of the stones. But later on, I will show you how to make the sides more distinguished by adding contrasting tonal values. While we wait for the layer to be dry, let's paint the grass. I still use my olive green with a bit of blue. Since the grass is not really our focal point, we can paint it with some light and loose washes. Just create color play between greens and oranges to make it more alive and not dull. I paint these small rocks in the foreground still with light colors as they are not our focal point and we don't want it to steal the attention from the Stonehenge. Let's darken the greens right below the Stonehenge. It is a good way to connect the stones to the ground too. Now I'm using a synthetic brush and created dark brown using burnt sienna and neutral tint. This is the portion where we enhance the contrast on the stones to make them dimensional. Using dry strokes, I darken some portions of the edges to create separation between the two sides. Again, you don't need to outline the entire side completely. Just do suggestive strokes and it will be sufficient. Here I'm mixing the color of the sky. The mix shouldn't be too bright. I didn't pre-wet the background before painting the blue because I don't want the colors of the stones to bleed. We need hard edge between the sky and stones to emphasize the rough, solid texture. I continue painting the sky with soft washes and spray water only on the edges. I'm adding very light spots of burnt sienna in the horizon. And I also darken again some corners and cracks on the stones and small dots and spots like this to further enhance the picture. Just be mindful not to overdo the stroke or not to add dark stones on sides that should be light in tone. Let's add some final details and accents and our painting is complete. Let's apply most of the techniques and strokes we learned from the previous lessons on our next project.